Tepu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, Haroon Nepper. This is Kasank Maat Keparu with another video for you. And in this video, I want to talk about the concept of self-love and self-worth. And before I go into that subject, I want you to like button on this video. And if this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications when I go live or when I upload recorded videos. And also remember, we have free ebooks that will take you a little bit deeper into these spiritual teachings, Kemetic teachings, and teachings about the matrix. You can download them now and start reading them. They're free again. So just hit the links below. And also consider becoming a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1 or $5 per month. And you'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on breathing techniques, how to perform a ritual, you know, how to work with the oracles and things of that nature. So become a Patreon supporter. Now let's get into this subject matter, which I think is kind of important. I wanted to touch on. You know, many times, a lot of us growing up, there's not the right kind of support and love in our lives to give us enough self-esteem and self-worth to operate as a fully functional adult. And when that doesn't happen, many of us seek it in various different ways. And there were some women that I was counseling once, I remember, and, you know, I noticed that a lot of women would, these are like single moms would have baby after baby after baby. And I kind of wanted to understand, like, why are you going from man to man having all these babies? And it was just this search for love and acceptance. And also the fact that there's something between the mother, the bond of the mother and the baby. And that love is something that these women would kind of like feed off of. So this is something that if it's missing from your life, you are going to seek it out in various different ways. And we need to deal with this from a very esoteric spiritual perspective. I'm going to talk about this. And this is deriving self-love and self-worth internally instead of seeking it out externally, because that's a problem there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how that works. All right. One of the things I did when I first, and this is my oracle cards, when I first got into the tarot, was that, you know, everybody probably asks questions like, what's going to happen tomorrow? Or like, will I get married? Will I be rich? And things of that nature. When my brother introduced me to the tarot, he was the first one to introduce me to it, because he was practicing it. I don't know for how long, though. The first question that I asked, because I knew that when I was doing my tarot spread, like the Celtic cross is basically what I knew how to do at the time. Well, that was a more complex spread, but the one I knew could give me a direct answer was just picking one card, you know? So I did that. And the first question I asked was, I spoke directly to Neter, source, Yahweh, God. And I said, God, do you love me? That was the very first question. And then shockingly, what came back was a direct answer. I'm trying to find the precise card. I don't think it's in this deck, though, because I had a different deck at the time. It was a card, and it was something similar to this. No, I think it was the Lovers. Yeah, no, it wasn't the Lovers. It was the Two of Cups. Something similar to it, because every deck is different. This is the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, so I had a different deck, but it came up with the heart, love. And not only did it establish in my mind that this thing works, I knew then and there that I was communicating directly with the creator of the universe. Because the very first question I asked is, do you love me? And the card that came up was the heart card. Understanding that God was saying, I love you. Yes, I do. Because there is an aspect to God, because God encompasses all. He encompasses female, male principles, everything. And there's an aspect of God that is love. And that love is giving and seeking nothing in return. That is the Maat principle. That is God's love for you. And that connection between you and God is something that can never be severed. So when we are seeking in our lives to understand our purpose and our worth, we have to go back into our true origins and who we are. And one of the things you need to understand is that the universe does not create anything for no reason. The fact that you are here and that you exist means that you're an essential component to the whole. That means this whole ecosystem, because the matrix reality itself is a web of interdependence and interrelationship. Everything is working and cooperating with each other. Nothing is created and nothing is superfluous. So creation doesn't just create something that it doesn't need. So your very existence means that you serve a purpose and you are needed for this whole to function properly. And not only that, that God loves you individually. You have to think about God as like, oh, God's controlling all of the billions of galaxies out there and all of the infinite number of dimensions, but still has time for you. And I have always been involved in the film industry. And in that industry, you'll see that there's people who put on a facade, people who are looking for external validation. So they go around and they pretend and they put on this aura of having made it. And maybe many of them have not made it. And you'll see this in a lot of places. Like, for example, you may see it in Florida, you may see it in California, you definitely will see it in Las Vegas. And there are people who have acquired certain status in life and wealth. But what you need to understand is that you're not competing against anybody. So there's no race to get to a finish line. And the other thing is your self-worth is not predicated upon external validation. No one can validate who you are, because your connection to source is that validation. Your understanding that you're a God man, God woman is that validation of your self-worth. And you're seeking out of external love by getting involved in partners or, trying to get that love from your kids or get that love from wherever. You don't need that because your connection to God, that there's a love already there established. So you are loved. And this love that's not asking anything in return. Now, I want you to take this a step further. Now, many times in life, we'll go, like I go to a lot of social events and I meet people who, again, some of them are millionaires, some of them have a kind of status in life. Others, are just full of crap. And you'll see a lot of women there trying to parade off their beauty and their looks, because a lot of this society tells women that your self-worth lies in your beauty, and then you'll have value. And for men, it tells us that if we are building and have acquired things, material things and wealth, then we have worth, we have value. But that is not true. Because as I said before, the mere fact that you are here, you're functioning and you're a component in the whole, therefore you have value and therefore you are needed. And you don't need external validation to tell you that. And one of the things I quickly learned is that when I would meet these individuals, some of them would outright insult me because they felt that they were higher, more important than me. And if I couldn't do nothing for them in terms of like giving them financing or introducing them to a producer, then they look down upon me. And that can have a blow to who you are. You feel belittled, you feel low, you feel embarrassed. One of the things I've always said is this: listen, if you truly understand what's going on, then there's no reason for you to feel low, feel embarrassed, and have a sense of low self-esteem, because this society will do that to you. I know one of the things that my parents could have done better is instilling a better self-worth and self-esteem within me and my brother, to make us feel like we are important, we are loved, we are essential, that we have a purpose here. But because the society is created by left brain thinkers, they will tell you that, hey, listen, this is what you have to do in life. You have to pursue this. You have to go to college, get an education. You have to have this job and make about $150,000 a year. You got to do da 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 da, right? Then you have self-worth. Then you have value. then people will love you. People you did, but if for a man, if you're not making enough income, then your wife, she will look down upon you because you're not being a provider. But that's an incorrect way of thinking in terms of relationships is concerned. So I went for a long time with low self-esteem, low self-worth. So the way I dealt with that was to get into self-help. So I said, oh, I'm gonna get into these programs. I'm gonna learn neurolinguistic programming. I'm gonna hypnotize myself or do meditations to visualize myself as high self-esteem, self-worth. I'm going to see myself making $1 million in 5 years, and therefore, I will feel good about myself. This is what the conventional self-help gurus will teach you to do to bring about high self-esteem and self-worth. But that is actually incorrect. That's not the way you want to do it, because that's a band-aid. And what that does is you're just hiding the fact that you have a hole within you. I'm going to relay something to you that's really deep. When I was doing astro projecting or astro traveling, I would go to different worlds. And when I was in those different worlds, I would be communicating with beings and doing things with them and working with projects with these beings. And when I would come back, I would always think about that world I was at and how their society was structured so differently, because in their society there was no racism, there was no class structure, there was no you had to acquire material objects to be of self-worth. And I really love that. And that's why I would love to do astral projection, astral traveling, because I felt as if it freed me from the conformity of modern society. Because in those different realms, I was not judged. And no one looked down upon me because I have not done X, Y, and Z. They valued me from the mere fact that I existed. They valued me because they were not concrete thinkers. They were abstract, right brain, integrated brain thinkers. And they knew that who I was consciousness. And I wasn't the physical body. See, that construct of concrete thinking superseding abstract thinking gets us into trouble. Because in God's eyes, you are consciousness. And God understands that you are just playing a role in a physical avatar body to have an experience. But when God is communicating with you, God knows it is speaking to you, consciousness, and not the physical being. And God understands the physical being is composed of organs and blood cells and all this stuff. So you're going to make mistakes in life. But those mistakes don't define who you are. And who you are at this moment, it's only one character in a never-ending story, because you're going to be reborn and reborn and reborn an infinite number of times. So don't get hung up on this lifetime. Don't get hung up on things that are going on. I studied super learning, accelerated learning. I got mad at myself because I couldn't learn quicker. But I said, hey, don't get that doesn't define me. And if I can't do these things, these goals I've set for myself, these high goals, I felt bad about myself. But that's, again, is placing your validation in externals. You've got to be outcome. You can't be outcome dependent, meaning you can't be hanging on to things in life to make you feel good about your self-worth. The game changer in what I did to bring about a feeling of love and self-respect and self-esteem, the game changer in that was when I began to understand the very nature of reality. I was with a friend and we were at a social event. And this woman, we started socializing with these group of girls, and we started talking. And I started talking to one girl, and it was a great conversation. And lo and behold, one of the women said something that was very insulting to me. And then, we all then dispersed and walked away. And my friend was talking about it. He was like, "Wow, she really made you feel low in front of all those people. I said, who? He goes, that girl back there. I said, what girl? I said, she doesn't exist. And that really, he looked at me perplexed. And then I went on to explain. I said, you see, this is my reality, and everyone in here is just a guest. You understand? It's all an illusion, Maya. I'm really interacting with an aspect of myself. So in essence, she doesn't really exist, so she cannot insult me. When you start to realize, again, and you believe it to the core of your being, that you're living in a holographic experience and that these people are not real, so they cannot hurt you and cannot insult you, because you are, in essence, your true state is Amen, at peace, at rest. You have a peace within you that nothing can disturb. So when I began to understand that I'm interacting with avatars and things that aren't solid, because reality isn't solid, it's all a vibrational experience. Everything is nothing but photons, photonic energy. And it's merely this experience that I actually created so I could learn from the experience. Then I got to say, wait a minute, I get it. I get it. And let me take this deeper, okay? Then I began to realize that the woman that said things, a number of things actually were peculiar in what she said. She had said some things I was thinking about prior to that meeting. And then I said, oh, okay, it's a matrix and a feedback loop. So she was merely regurgitating thoughts and ideas I had previously. You see, once you start to understand what you're dealing with, you can see the glitches in the matrix. You can see what's going on. I was thinking about something a week prior to that social event, and it was bothering me. And at the actual social events, she said the exact words that I had been thinking about. What a coincidence. That's because that is the matrix speaking back to you. That is reality feeding back to you your belief system. And that's how I knew that she really didn't exist. She was only an image to facilitate an awakening and understanding for my person to arrive at. And you can do this test yourself. Take a thought, dwell on that thought, empower it with an emotion, and then watch how your environment will take form and take shape to meet that belief system. It will speak back to you. If I dwell on chocolate ice cream a lot, then suddenly the reality will take shape and form to bring ideas and bring situations to me that involve chocolate ice cream. That's how reality works. If I think about pretty redheads, then suddenly reality is going to create situations where I'll keep bumping into redheads. But a lot of us aren't awake and our third eye is not active, so we don't see these things that are happening. And then if we do, we cast them off and say they're coincidences. No, they're not coincidences. You are creating that reality. So if you're feeling, and this is why you have to be careful about the thoughts and beliefs that you harbor, because if you're feeling low self-esteem, then reality will create situations to mimic and bring out that within you, to bring more of that out within you. It'll create situations where people will berate you and make you feel low. This is why you have to deal with that. And it's not that reality and everything around you is conspiring against you. It's trying to help you come to an epiphany, come to an awakening about who you truly are, which is God, man, God, woman, So I knew that the woman, she was, I said, well, first of all, she didn't insult me because she doesn't exist. She cannot insult me because somebody that doesn't exist can't hurt me. And then furthermore, she is just an avatar that my person is using to help me understand what's going on inside my mind. Because what's going on in here is being projected out into what I perceive as an external environment, but it's not an external environment. The other thing is you have to understand that everything is connected. As I said before, you're operating in an ecosystem that has a web of interdependence and interrelationships between all things. So then I kind of realized this. I said, well, in order for me to really understand my person, myself, and not be a victim and feel as though friends and other people are putting me down and making me feel low, I have to stop placing my self-worth in an external world that does not exist. So I have to withdraw within and understand and say to myself, well, the mere fact that I exist means I'm important. And God is no respecter of person. So I am loved, regardless of the mistakes and the things that I do. Even if I were to say, God, I don't believe in you, or, or curse God for doing, giving me a tough life, God still loves me. Because there's that connection there. In ancient Kemet, God was known as the great ancestor that came before all of us. So we have to learn, in spite of what these self-help gurus tell us to do with the visualizations, saying that visualize yourself, looking good, feeling good, like $1,000,000. Visualization is powerful and it is very good. But what you have to also understand is that you control your environment. You control the matrix. You control reality. If you don't want to feel worthless, if you want things to change, then create a new construct. Create a new holographic experience. Wow, man, every time I talk to my boss, she puts me down or she gives me a hard time. All right, then go into trance and then visualize yourself having a harmonious relationship with your boss and watch how reality conforms to what's going on in your mind. That's how you change it. And then when you see that change happen and transpire, then you know who's in control. Then you understand, do not place your self-worth in things that don't exist. You have to tell your mate, our relationship is not based on what I can do for you, provide for you. It's about our spiritual growth together. Because too many relationships today fall apart due to economic situations or external material resources that cannot be provided. So you have to look beyond that. So let's start understanding who we are first and foremost. That when you mess up, when things go wrong, that is not who you truly are. And regardless of what happens in your life, you are loved by source, by nectar, by God. And then the other thing is, don't take what people say to heart. Don't internalize that because it damages your spirit. Understand that they're only illusions, they're Maya that are just reflections of your own thought systems and belief systems. So don't take it to heart if someone says something or does something that you feel hurts you. In fact, you need to step back and say, hmm, why do they say that? What belief am I harboring that causes that to manifest? Think about that clearly, because you are the designer, the director of your own movie. And you don't even realize that you're writing these characters. And these characters are operating and doing things according to what's going on in your head. That's all that they're doing. They're not independent. They're not objective. They don't exist outside of your mind. If they insult you or they say things to you, that's because deep within the recesses of your mind, you have a low self esteem. So start to change that. And then you'll find that you won't have those instances where people insult you, berate you, or you don't feel loved. Commit to doing a challenge. I want you to commit to doing a 28-day challenge. What is a 28-day challenge? Meditate for 28 days on one specific goal. Say to yourself, okay, I want things at my job to go great. Everybody will love me. I will do things and basically exceed their expectations, and everybody will love me. Meditate on seeing that happen. You coming in one day for work, giving everybody a high five, you do that report, the boss loves you. I want you to meditate and see that for 28 days. 28 days is the moon cycle. Okay. That's all set. And when you do that, I want you to, for those 28 days, observe the situation. And I guarantee you watch how it will slowly but surely start to mushroom, start to change to conform to your visualization of what you want. You'll see it. And when you see it fully blossom, then you'll realize that the reality doesn't exist, that you are actually controlling it. And the great thing about it, there's that aha moment or that epiphany where you realize, holy crap, she was just saying things that I was thinking about in my meditation. Kasak is right. She doesn't exist. She's an illusion. Then you will start to embark on a journey to become a master magi, because you have seen firsthand how you can control and manipulate reality. I did a program years ago. I did a program how to manipulate and control people. And in that class, the first thing I said to them, I said, the prerequisite for manipulating and controlling people, as subversive as that sounds, as Machiavellian as that sounds, it's not. Because how you control and manipulate people is first by understanding that the people don't exist, that they are a creation of your own thought system. So therefore, if you accept that belief system, first and foremost, you must accept that belief system. If you accept that belief system, then you open the psychic centers to being able to control the avatars in your life. And then the next step is breaking down their psychic defenses, their nekabet and their wajet, because you've created your avatars with psychic defenses so that you can't penetrate them, so they can operate in a certain autonomous manner. But you can break through that because of your creation. You can hack your own creation. Now, there's a theory that has been proposed that calls the individuals, the extras in your movie, in the background, as shadow people, meaning they are actually just extras. They're one-dimensional characters that you created not to talk to or interact with, but they're just to walk around in the background just to make things look good, like you're really on a planet. I'm not kidding. You've created those people, those shadow people, those extras in your movie just to walk around and look good. They're not like real people who you can interact with. They're just extras. So when I gave that class on manipulating individuals in your life, I also talked about having troubles in relationship. I said, there's no need for you to, like, oh, I'm having trouble with my mate, I'm in this relationship and this and this. There's no need for you to fight. You sit down, you meditate, and you say, listen, I can envision my mate acting a certain way that is harmonious and conducive to a great loving environment. And when you see that, then she will change or he will change, because that change has to happen first within you. I mean, people will come to me and say, well, I'm having trouble in this relationship. I'm having these issues with my mate. I say, oh, that's because, why you're suddenly now having issues with your mate? Because you have now accepted a belief system and vibrated to a parallel world where you're interacting with a different version of your mate. That's what's going on. That's the truth. You're talking to a new mate, because you've changed your belief system. So inevitably, if you're changing your belief system, you're changing the frequency by which you vibrate. And if you're changing the frequency by which you vibrate, what happens? You take a quantum leap to a new parallel world, to where you're interacting with a new mate. Duh. You are the puppet master. You must understand that. You are the auteur, the director. You are the screenwriter. It's your world. Everyone else is just a guest. And you can ask them to leave at any time you want. I never argue with people. I never argue with people. I used to do that because I was trapped in the animal spirit, my sahu. Then I elevated to the ab level. The ab level is the heart level, is the Maat level, where when you're at the Maat level, you're no longer a concrete thinker, you're an abstract thinker. You know who you are as consciousness. And that's the level of love. That's the level of understanding that all things are interdependent, interrelationships with each other. And when you're at that level, then you know that, I'm connected to the matrix. The matrix is merely responding to my belief system. And whether I consciously think about something or not, it's going to manufacture that. So why don't I elevate to the Haru level, Haru, the will, where I consciously will what I want. And I will for me to have a harmonious relationship with my mate. I will for me to have a harmonious relationship with my boss. And the way to do that is I am going to meditate every day for 28 days for one full moon cycle. And I will watch and observe the matrix. And I will see the glitch in the matrix, because the glitch will come from the very fact that the people, the avatars, will start to regurgitate ideas and thoughts and keywords and phrases that I was thinking about. I will listen, I will hear those phrases and keywords that I was thinking about. This happened the other day. Let me give you an example. This happened the other day. There's a slang term that I was like, why do we say this slang term? Like when something is true, we go facts, facts, facts. So as a joke, I'm walking around saying to myself, facts, facts, facts. You know what I mean? So I'm at this event and I introduce myself to this woman and we start talking. And I said something and she goes, oh, facts, facts, facts. I just started laughing. I said, oh man, the Matrix is good. The Matrix is good. She doesn't exist. She's just really a reflection of what I was doing prior, when I was obsessed with that word, facts, facts. And it was funny because I'm looking, I'm like, whoa, listen to this white girl go, facts, facts. Is she into Black culture or hip hop culture? You know, like it was great. It was wonderful. Because now you know what you're dealing with and you know how much power you have. You know you're not a victim, actually. You know you're loved. And you know your true self is consciousness. Everyone that I've dealt with in terms of like self-help, the people who I've worked with all say the same thing. They say, Kasank, you have too high standards for yourself. You beat up on yourself a lot. I know. And we do that in life because we want to prove that we're important and we're worthwhile. And this is especially important with minorities because the world has marginalized us so much that we want validation and we seek it in external things. This is the whole hip hop movement. That's where that comes from. Parading around money and women and drugs, talking about, how you can make it rain and what you can do. That's placing a self-worth in external things. You don't need that. When you can go within and experience who you truly are, which is consciousness and astral travel of different realms, then you'll know that you are consciousness. You are valued. You don't need anybody in your matrix to validate you. So I don't care what people think of me. I don't care. I don't care what they say because it doesn't make me or it doesn't break me. What they say is of no value to me. Now, don't go too crazy with that now because you do need that feedback loop to tell you what's going on in your life. You need to understand that the individuals in your matrix are there to try and help you. They're giving, it's a feedback loop. They're trying to help you come to an awakening understanding of things that are going on inside of you. No situation should be awkward to you. Why are you feeling awkward around people who don't exist? You understand? And the matrix is going to play games with you because when you come to the realization that none of it exists, then the matrix is going to say, oh, okay, all right. You're getting smart now, huh? Let me test you. Let me test you. And then the games begin. We have yet to realize that who we're talking to is just another aspect of ourselves. That's all it is. It's another aspect of ourselves. And you control all of these characters in your movie, in your play. You control them. Don't get distracted, though. Don't get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. Create your world. What I'm saying by that is get your journals out and start writing down. Today, I want this to happen. Tomorrow, I want this to happen. This is what I expect in terms of how much money I will make. This is what I will expect, the type of mate I will marry. This is what I expect in the type of house I'll live. And you start meditating on that. Start meditating on that. Because you're creating your world. Because if you don't plan it and you don't actively think about what you want and you work on it internally, then all the garbage and junk inside of you is going to manifest in this 3D experience. And you're going to ask, why am I getting my ass kicked? Because you can change all of that. Now, it takes work. I'm not saying that, you can sit there and put together a vision board or put together pictures and all of a sudden things will just happen. No, meditation, you have to commit to meditating. All these things have to be focused on daily. You can commit to 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, but make sure you're focusing on meditating and creating the world that you want. Now, the things are going to blindside you. Things are going to happen. Somebody's going to come along and throw you for a loop. They're going to be like, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Why did they say that? That's okay. That's cool. That's cool, man. Don't get caught up in it. Just don't get caught up in it, okay? The Matrix caught you. It played a game with you. It caught you off guard. It messed you up. It threw you for a loop. And the loop could be your mate one day coming to you and say, I want a divorce. Or your mate coming to you and saying, you know what, I slept with somebody else. So there, how you like that? Don't get thrown now. Just chill and say, okay, be at peace. I'm in. I'm gonna go step away, meditate, find out what happened, and then visualize things going the right way. Course correct, of course. Course correct. Because you're always going to be caught off guard. You're always going to be caught off guard. There's nothing you can do about that. But do as best as possible to create and manufacture the world and the life that you want. And the way to do that is not leaving things to happenstance. You are God. You can create things. Never forget that. Never forget that. You, by the very nature that you exist, means that you serve a very essential, important purpose that no one can make you feel low. No one can validate you. The mere fact that you accumulate things. Oh, I make $200,000 a year. Don't get caught up in that. So what? You're going to live an infinite number of lives. Your next life, you may be a bum. Easy come, easy go. Because when you start attaching belief systems to these things, is when the matrix will start messing with you. So try to be at peace no matter what happens in your life. Try to be centered and know that you are loved and that you are valued. And nothing in the external world can validate that for you. It's not going to happen. I've been in situations where I've been on the set, been a director, everybody loves me. I have an assistant, they're waiting on me hand and foot. Then next month, be online at the DMV, and everyone, the security guards are making me feel low. They're yelling at me. You know what I'm saying? So kind of like get centered and don't allow these things in life to make you feel good or make you feel bad, because I don't want that. That's the problem with the entertainment industry, because everybody's like feeding your ego. They're kissing your ass. They make you feel good. And that goes to people's heads. And this is what makes them very evil and corrupt people who are out of control and then start yelling at their assistants. You know, you didn't bring me whipped cream on my cappuccino and so and so. The one thing that you can rely on that will never, ever forsake you or leave you is your magical power. When you come into that understanding and realization that you can manipulate reality, then you'll know who you truly are. Then you'll understand that you have a power that not many people in this world have. Not many people have the power because, well, actually, they all have the power, but not many people are awakened to the fact that they have the power. Do you understand what I mean? They're sleeping. And by the mere fact that you're on this broadcast, that you're listening to me, and that you will take action to empower yourself and practice your magic doing the 28-day challenge with the meditation to actually see the fruits of your labor, the mere fact that you're going to do this makes you special now. It sets you apart from the rest, because many people don't have access to this information, and if they did, they wouldn't act upon it. It would just be intellectual masturbation for them. Okay, so my beloveds, I want to thank you, and I apologize I didn't have time to greet the Magi's, but I hope this message finds you in good health and that you can use it in some way, shape, or form to enhance and better your lives, to understand that stop seeking external validation. Understand your connection to source is enough. In fact, many people who've experienced DMT and ayahuasca, said that they have gone to a level, and also those individuals who experienced the NDE or the near-death experiences said they traveled to such a alternate plane where there was just nothing but love. They felt immense love. That realm exists. That is the realm of Maat, of Nectar's love for you. And when you learn to meditate and become proficient at it, you can vibrate to that frequency to experience that love. And it's wonderful. So don't place, again, your validation in external things. You know, I'm going to leave you with this, okay? I have worked with guys who have given up their lives because they fell in love with a woman. And I've seen their lives fall apart. And I have tried to tell them myself, listen, it's wonderful that you feel this love for this individual, and that's great. But there is a difference between feeling that love and being whole and complete. You must understand that no person can complete you. No person can bring to you things that you need if you're bringing baggage to the relationship. Meaning that if you have a hole within you, don't seek out other individuals to try and fill that hole, because you're only going to make it worse. You're only going to make it worse. So I would tell them, before you get into that relationship, I want you to work on self first. Work on building your self-esteem. Work on feeling love. And then after you work on that, then go back to that relationship and then see if you still feel the same way. Because inevitably, you're seeking out something as a form of therapy for you. You're seeking out that individual to help you feel whole and complete. And that's not what you want to do. Because again, you're bringing baggage to that relationship. You're hoping that that person can do things for you to make you feel good and feel loved. And that's not that person's role and responsibility to do that. And if you go into the relationship with that thinking, the matrix is going to teach you a lesson. It's going to beat you to death. It's going to beat you down, because that person then you're going to find out a revelation that they cheated on you or something happened, and then you're going to feel even worse. And that's just you creating the situation to teach yourself a lesson. So before you get into that relationship, I would tell them, work on self first. And work on an understanding that that person is merely a reflection of you. It's an avatar. So stop thinking, they're so wonderful. You know, I love the way they do this. When I see them and they smile, it lights up my day. No, that's not that person. It's not real. You're fooling yourself. It's a matrix trick. Be careful. Warning sign, be careful. You know, you feel that way because you have a faulty belief system. So the matrix is creating somebody to mimic that faulty belief system, to make you believe that you feel good when you're around them, but you don't need them to feel good. You can feel good on your own. And then the next level I take them to is I say, listen, I want you to understand this. And this goes to men and women alike. You can manifest a mate anytime you want. If this one isn't working, give them their pink slip. Give them their walking papers. You can manifest whatever mate you want. Don't get caught up on anyone. I have also people who lose friendships. I said, that's all right. Manifest a new friend. That's all. Move on. That's what you do. When you understand that you have the power, you understand you can manifest what you want, because this experience is abundance. It's not lacking. You just have to learn to sit there and meditate and actively will what you want to happen in your life, instead of letting it just transpire on its own on autopilot. Because then you're going to be thrown here and here. You're going to be like a prize fighter in a fight, getting hit left, right, and hit. Like, wow, life's kicking my butt. Well, then sit down and meditate and see the life that you want. And then you'll stop getting hit. Anyway, my beloved, thank you for tuning in. This is Kasank Ma Keperu, son of Maat and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until the next broadcast, be at peace, be at rest. Amen Ra.